Dexter Scott King has gone home to glory. May he rest in peace. 11 Alive did some reporting on the story. Let's take a listen.
Dexter Scott King, he was the son of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King.
The family says he died today in his sleep at 62 years old after a battle with prostate cancer. 11 Alive's Molly Oak is live this evening outside of the King Center as statements of remembrance of the King family member continue to come in. Molly?
And one of those statements came from a church in Alabama. It's actually the church that Dexter was named after, one where his father served as the pastor. It called him a beautiful, talented, and kind soul.
Remembering the life of Dexter Scott King, he was the son of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King.
The family says he died today in his sleep at 62 years old after a battle with prostate cancer. 11 Alive's Molly Oak is live this evening outside of the King Center as statements of remembrance of the King family member continue to come in. Molly?
And one of those statements came from a church in Alabama. It's actually the church that Dexter was named after, one where his father served as the pastor. It called him a beautiful, talented, and kind soul, a person who continued his parents' legacy while also establishing a legacy of his own. You know, we talked to the Atlanta council member who really understands the weight of a legacy like that. He says that he and Dexter shared a special bond because his father was also a civil rights activist. Living a life honoring a legacy.
If Jesse Jackson can't fill Martin's shoes, if Andy Young, Joe Lowry, John Lewis, and Julian Bond, Ralph Abernathy, C.T. Vivian, Jose R. Williams all rolled into one can't fill Martin's shoes, then how can anyone expect me to fill his shoes?
Dexter Scott King's words emulate the emotions of the son of one of the men mentioned.
This is Julian Bond's son being interviewed by 11 Alive News, talking about how difficult it is, and it was growing up, being in the limelight of these great men, the sons of these great men. And people don't realize it's a difficult road when you're trying to carve your own journey and not fill the shoe of your parents.
There's an understanding there because it is a unique experience that most people don't have, having the world scrutinize you because of who your parents are, having the world project expectations upon you based upon who your parents are.
Atlanta City Council member Michael Julian Bond joked he and Dexter called each other civil rights cousins, saying his father, Julian Bond, found a mentor in Dexter's dad, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
You know, when we moved on to Sunset Avenue, largely because the Kings were living there. That's what my father would take. He wanted to be closer. He felt a real kinship and closeness to them.
The two grew up just a couple houses away from each other.
We grew up playing together, playing football, running in the alleyways.
As Bond remembers the man with the creative mind and spirit.
Aside from that, Dexter was a great guy. He was just a great person. And those who knew him loved him. You know, he was inspirational to people.
People who will continue to remember Dexter, his life, and his legacy.
You know, his eyes were always toward the horizon. And he was just a great guy. He will be missed.
And we did hear from some members of the King family today. While they are asking for privacy at this time, they did send us statements saying they are devastated by the loss of their family member. Tomorrow they'll be meeting here at the King Center to remember the life of their loved one.
Condolences to the King family and rest in peace. Dexter Scott King. He died at the age of 62 as a result of prostate cancer, the King Center in Atlanta said. So may he rest in peace, and my condolences to the family. I'm over and out. Don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching.